You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here's your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Well, happy Friday, everybody. I am Glenn the Geek in Ocala, Florida.
And I'm Jamie Jennings in Norman, Oklahoma. You're listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for Friday, February 14th, episode 3267, brought to you today by Kentucky Performance Products. Good morning, Horse World, and happy Valentine's Day. Glenn wrote that and made me say it. To you all. Bye.
It's Friday, and another weekend of riding is a few short hours away. Jamie and Glenn are here to help you make it through the day with some fun guests and some really bad ads. Enjoy the show.
Well, good morning and happy Valentine's Day to you all and to your horses too. We have a fun show planned for you today. Mark Bedor is going to join us, and he's going to reflect on his 6 seasons of the TV show Today's Wild West. He hosts that and been doing that for a long time. Jamie's going to finally give us the results of the informal color survey of everyone's favorite and least favorite horse colors.
I had no idea just how extensive this was going to be. So,
and how passionate.
There's a reason it took me this long.
You had a few responses.
I had a few responses and emails and all the things. So, yeah. And I even made phone calls to other people to get their advice. So we have that. Don't say finally.
Well, I'm excited to hear the results and see if they're what we think they are, or if there are surprises in the mix. So we'll find that out today. That started, a week or two ago that we started discussing that. So it'll be interesting. And then we have some really bad ads for you today. No auditor post show. Go enjoy the day with your loved ones today. You don't need us in the post show today. Well, I thought today, being it's Valentine's Day, I would share some quotes with you about love throughout the show. But first, I asked AI to write a Valentine's poem for your horse. And this is what Gemini came up with. My horsey Valentine so grand, you're way more fun than any man. No chocolates needed, just some hay, and maybe carrots, if I may. Your farts are loud, your snores are deep, but still my love for you runs steep. We'll skip the roses, that's absurd, just cuddles, scratches, and a word. A word of thanks, my goofy steed, you're all the Valentine I need.
My God.
Gemini actually wrote
How many of these do I have to listen to?
I have some quotes from real people later on in the show. So that's coming up too. But yeah, I actually can't believe Gemini put your farts are loud, your snores are deep.
That was actually a pretty good poem, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think I could have written it better. It was kind of funny. So I'll give Gemini credit. All right, Daily Whinnie time. Well, first I have to give a happy Valentine's Day to my sweet wife, Jennifer. So happy Valentine's Day, dear. Also, we might actually go out to lunch today. We never leave the farm anymore. So I'm excited about that. Also, we have a couple of these.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
We have 2 fellow cruisers. I think they've been on all the cruises between both of them. Lisa Dow and Corinne Donahue. Happy birthday to both of you. And I also want to give a Daily Whinnie to Karen Isberg. She visited the farm the other day. Now, Karen is the founder of Kentucky Performance Products. She sold the company and is now retired. Jamie, let me tell you that when you retire, you become happy, apparently, because she's a really happy person. She looks so much more chill than any time we've ever seen her in the past. She's living life and having fun. Her daughter is an eventer, and she came down to watch her daughter ride. And she was staying at the World Equestrian Center at the new hotel over there, and she said it's very nice. So she's been enjoying her visit, and Karen looks so happy, and we're happy for her. Good job, Karen.
She's doing it right, man.
Yeah.
You when you retire, you got to do stuff. You can't just sit in the house. So I think she's just doing it all right. You retired. Let's go buy a horse and go to Florida.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So it was so nice for her to visit, and it was so good to see her. And she still listens to the show, too. So thank you, Karen, for everything you've done for us over the years.
Well, you asked me before, and I'll give you the update on the land purchase that Chad and I were considering making. So we wanted to find just like some raw land that we could take the horses to for a weekend, and they could hunt and fit, not hunt, but they could fish and hunt like possum or I don't know, whatever they want to do, shoot guns, shoot bows and arrows, live this like country lifestyle way out in the country. So we looked
you
at
do
this.
have your hunting license now, so you're good to go.
Exactly. I mean, totally. I've done the hunter education. So we looked at this land, and it was 40 acres, and it was just beautiful. There was a neighbor dog who came over and was like hanging out with me. We walked the whole land. Well, we went back yesterday. And when we were hiking the land the first time, we heard some like noises, like the property next door was clearing. Like it sounded like trucks and tractors like clearing the land. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I wonder what's going in there. So we went back yesterday and we took Lucas and we were hiking the land, and we're getting pretty serious about it because it's beautiful. And we had Google Earth the whole thing to see like who the neighbors are. There's a ginormous cutting barn down the street, like half a mile away, with a giant covered indoor. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to make friends with those people. It's going to be great. So we're walking the land again. And I'm like, I hear that noise again, that clear, like, it's like they're still working on that land. I said, let's drive over there. And Chad said, we can't just drive onto somebody's property. I'm like, yes, we can. Yes, we can. Ask for forgiveness, not permission. So we pull out and he goes to, I was like, no,
so
turn
straight
right.
Military dude.
Oh God. I know. Right. He's like, we can't just drive on somebody's land. I'm like, we can, we'll just say we accidentally
You're
turned
lost.
in the wrong
Yeah.
driveway. Yeah. We're lost. We're new here. We don't know what we're doing. So we drive down and because we kept hearing that noise. And so we actually, cell service isn't great, but we got on this Google Earth and he was like, see, there's nothing there. And I'm like, well, something is happening. Drive this way. So we turn up and there is a newly constructed road that goes way into the back of this property. And I was like, just pull in and we'll see what it is. Well, as we pull in, we realize that it's a road that's kind of like built and it's so new that they have sides, like wire on the sides where you can't turn around. And so Chad's like, oh, great. Look what you've done. You've got us stuck. And so we just have to keep driving. I was like, well, in for a penny, in for a pound, baby. Let's do this. Like, so we start driving down the road and we probably drove, oh my gosh, for a good 8 minutes on this driveway that is going back into the woods. And I'm like, there's the creek that borders our potential property. And we go to the very top of the hill. It is a drilling for oil. That is a thing here in Oklahoma. There's an oil drilling operation that has just popped up. There are derricks and oil machines. Once we got all the way to the back of the property, there are oil machines everywhere. And I'm like, now we know why the land next door is for sale. It was a construction crew bonanza. There were oilmen on top of these rigs. There's those little oil derricks going up and down. I was like, either that or we should buy the land.
That's what I was thinking.
And shoot the ground.
That's what I was
and
thinking.
have bubble in. Yeah. Well, see, people in
I was
Oklahoma
picturing the
got real
Beverly
smart.
Hillbillies.
Exactly. That's what I said. I'm like, should we go buy it and shoot the ground and get oil? You can't have mineral rights. So mineral rights are a thing for generations ago. Somebody locked in the mineral rights. So if we were to find black gold, Texas tea coming out of the ground, it's not ours.
And they can drill. Can they just declare eminent domain and drill on your property?
I don't, we didn't even research that far. And we get all the way down there and it is so loud. And the smell of just like methane is just, just paralyzing coming through the car with the windows up, and I'm just like, oh my God. And Chad's like, I'm so glad you made me drive down this road.
Did somebody approach you? Did anybody approach you?
No, we just there's all these guys just working. There's probably 40 guys out there working. Wow. And we just drove all the way the job site, turned around, drove out. So our dreams were dashed of this new perfect property. So we may or may not keep looking. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But that's a couple that we've gone and looked at. And I mean, it's like shopping for a horse, right? You look at hours of online things before you actually
bought this place.
Yeah, you look at hours of online stuff before you even drive out. So we've probably spent, 20 hours online looking at stuff and gone to see 2 properties, and they've both been fairly disappointing. And this one was actually a bit heartbreaking. It's like driving out to see a horse, and you drive really, really far, and you're super excited about it, and you get there and he's lame. That's what happened. We went to we saw a lame horse yesterday.
I have a piece of advice for you and he's a captain now, right?
Yes.
For you and the captain.
Oh, okay.
Have the captain bring his drone along at the next one and put it up there and see what the neighbors are up to.
Well, he's got these apps where you can like zoom in and see, but it had happened so fast. You're right.
On the app.
You're right. For some reason, I thought you were about to give me some stupid Valentine's Day poem, and so I was like waiting for that.
Does he own a good drone?
I mean, the problem with having a small drone in Oklahoma is the damn wind.
Oh.
And so we've had 2 drones that Lucas has gotten for Christmas, and they go up and like blows across the whole pasture.
This is the solution to the airplane problem. Tell him he can get a larger drone instead of an airplane.
Yeah, that's going to happen. You think a pilot wants to fly a drone? Apparently in the military, that's like fighter pilots are still fighter pilots. We don't fly drones.
So it's the gaming kids who end up flying the drones when they join the military.
Yes, exactly. Lucas is like, I could fly drones in the Air Force. I'm like, Chad just cringing.
It's kind of funny, though. Keep looking. The right property will pop up. It'll be the right one when you see it.
It's just trying to... And now we're like, okay, well, we want to find something that we could do together. But then he started thinking, he was like, oh, my God, I'm going to have to do so much work to keep this land up. I was like,
just dawned on him.
We're just going to start tweaking about another property. Like, it's fine. I was like... Well, we find a place that you can grow hay. So we pay somebody to mow it, and then we get hay out of it. And he's just like, but what about this? And what I got to fix fence. I got to do. And I was like, just calm down. Like, let's just step back and we'll keep looking.
Just have a perimeter fence like we did, and then you don't have to worry about anything.
That's what I said.
Hire somebody to do it. You don't need to be digging through the rock in Oklahoma. So
that's exactly what I said. But I'm just glad we hiked down in there. And Chad was like, I'm so glad you're so nosy. You're like, just drive. It's fine. Just drive. Go up this driveway.
The whole time you were camped out there, you'd be hearing.
Exactly. And we thought the first time that we heard it, we thought, oh, somebody's just doing some tractor work. It's it's farming country. We're like, oh, somebody's on their tractor next door. And when we got there the next time, we're like, hold up. It's still going. Still going. Yeah, it's never going to stop.
No,
ever.
They find oil. It's never stopping. Well, I'm glad you actually drove down the lane and looked. Now you know why it was such a nice new road back to the property. They needed to get big trucks back there. And
what's funny is one of the clues that we had, it's almost like somebody says something about a horse. We asked the realtor, can we, can we dig a well? And he was like, you don't have to dig a well. There's city water. And I was like, we were like, wait. This is like literally in the town of Asher, Oklahoma. It has like 102 people that live in Asher. I mean, it's insane. And I was like, why is there city water? Well, now we know, because the water is tainted with oil that we can't own.
There you go.
Here's your sign.
Here's your sign. And on that note, let's hear from Kentucky Performance Products, and then we're going to go to our first guest. His name is Mark Bedor. He is the creator and host of the award-winning documentary series, Today's Wild West, with 45 half-hour episodes airing on PBS, Tubi, and numerous other platforms. He brings stories from all over the American West. He's a 3-time recipient of the National Cowboy Museum's, which I think is the one we visited in Oklahoma when we were there. Yeah,
I took you there.
Yeah. He won the prestigious Western Heritage Award 3 times, and he's a champion of Western Heritage, and thought we'd get him on today and talk about doing his show.
This Nutritional Minute is brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products. More and more horse owners are managing older horses. One of the best ways to care for the senior horse in your life is by prioritizing their digestive tract health. Older horses are less able to maintain a well-balanced microbiome and repair and replace damaged tissues. This can lead to an uptick in ulcers, colic, or free fecal water syndrome. Poor gastrointestinal health decreases the horse's ability to digest and absorb adequate nutrients. It also impacts the effectiveness of the immune system, leaving older horses less able to fight off diseases such as EPM. Adding a research-proven digestive supplement to your older horse's diet can help maintain a healthy GI tract and reduce the incidence of digestive issues. We recommend Probiotic Wise to our customers with senior and geriatric horses. Probiotic Wise contains the true probiotic Saccharomyces boulardii. Unlike other yeast-based probiotics, S. boulardii remains viable through the acid environment in the stomach. It supports the healing of damaged tissues, reduced inflammation, and the optimal digestion and absorption of nutrients. Furthermore, Probiotic Wise contains fermentation metabolites that support a well-balanced microbiome. Probiotic Wise is sold through your veterinarian, so ask your vet if Probiotic Wise is right for your older horse. You can learn more about Probiotic Wise at kppvet.com. Got questions about your feeding program? We can help. Email Karen at questions@kppusa.com or call us at 859-873-2974.
Well, before we get to Mark, I have a Valentine's quote for you. Are you ready? This is from Jimmy Fallon.
Okay.
Oh, here's an idea. Let's make pictures out of our internal organs and give them to other people we love on Valentine's Day. That's not weird at all. Think about
Oh, Jimmy, that's flat. That fell flat.
Okay, then Sophie Monroe said this. The brain is the most outstanding organ. It works 24/7, 365 from birth until you fall in love.
That's true. That's true. I'll go with that.
All right, one more. Milton Berle. And for anybody under 75, you can look that one up. All my wife wanted for Valentine's Day was a little card. American Express.
Ah, there you go. Perfect.
Well, hey, Mark, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
So were you a filmmaker when you started Today's Wild West? Or were you just, were you doing something else?
I have a background as a TV news reporter.
Ah,
So-
okay.
So my show is TV news style stories about all things Western. So I've been passionate about the American West since I saw How the West Was Won when I was in third grade way back when. The original How the West Was Won, the Cinerama movie with John Wayne, Debbie Reynolds, and Henry Fonda, Jimmy Stewart. Everybody who was anybody back in 1962 was in that movie. So I've always been interested in the West. I always wanted to be a cowboy. I always wanted to ride horses. And anyway, long story short, Today's Wild West is a combination of that lifelong passion about all things Western with this skill I acquired as a television news person working in different markets around the country over the years.
You were early on, though, in taking that skill and saying, hey, I can do this myself, and then taking a chance on doing it yourself, because that's really come into play really heavily since COVID. So you were early in that game.
Well, I actually did my first show back in 1999.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had the idea, of kind of doing an Entertainment Tonight kind of a show. I thought, well, I could do a cowboy version of that. So yeah, I back then I hired a crew, and we shot the first pilot episode, a sample episode, in 2 very well planned days. And I hired a camera guy and a sound guy, and we went out and did 5 stories that made up this first half-hour TV show. And then I shopped it everywhere, and I couldn't get it on anywhere. Long story short, but that tape ended up on the desk of Cowboys Indians magazine. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Yeah.
And the editor at the time said, well, we love your show, but we want you to write print stories about the subjects you're doing in this show. So, well, I couldn't get the TV show on anywhere. That opened the door to doing magazine writing, which I started doing in 1999 as well. At the time, I was working as a TV news writer in Los Angeles, which means I was writing what the anchor people read.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I was working prior to that in places like Des Moines, Iowa, Battle Creek, Michigan, as an anchor, reporter, writer, producer, where you wear a lot of hats. In a bigger city like LA, it's very specialized. You know, you have a lot of people that just write, and the people that anchor, and that's all they do is anchor. And so I had the idea of doing this show when I was here in Los Angeles, and I saw a blurb for a college rodeo in the Los Angeles area at this junior college, Pierce College, and went out to that and wrote a magazine story about that. And that sort of set me on this path.
Well, and it's surely a lot easier and cheaper to do it when you started the show than it was in 1999. Technologically, I mean.
Yes. So I started doing the show I'm doing today in 2015. Yeah, because back then in 1999, to the best of my knowledge, there was no such thing as Final Cut Pro on an Apple computer where you could edit the show yourself on your desktop at home or even a laptop. And then also the camera gear at the time, when I did my first pilot pack in 1999, I hired the guys with the big $50,000 cameras that on your shoulder. Today, I can shoot my television show with a high definition broadcast quality camera that fits in a pommel bag, a saddle bag that fits over your saddle horn.
Well,
Is how I do it.
Look how many YouTubers with millions and millions and millions of followers doing it on an iPhone now. I mean, it's just crazy.
This is the perfect example of the right man creating the right job and being in the right place at the right time. I mean, this is just so absolutely perfect for you. What a dream to be able to tell these stories and visit these places. I'm looking through the episodes now, and I mean, you have been everywhere. Even right down the street from me in Oklahoma. I mean, you've been everywhere. And to my favorite place in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And then I used to live in Arizona, and there's episodes there. I mean, this is the true telling of like the story of our country and being there.
Yes, it's really been a great privilege. I always give credit to the Lord for marrying these two disparate things together, my interest in the West with my experience as a TV news guy. So yeah, I have been all over the West and have had a lot of amazing experiences and met all these incredible people. And that really, to me, is the best part of doing this is the experience, doing the show is kind of my avenue, my plug into the Western lifestyle and experiencing that. And then, and also the motto of our show is the Wild West is still out there and we'll show you how to find it. So kind of the moral of the story of all these shows is, hey, this is really cool stuff and you can go do it too.
Right.
We talk about the Yellowstone effect, how it, with retailers and manufacturers, how, there's 10 times the amount of cowboy hats being sold now and cowboy boots and things. Do you think that show helped yours? Do you think people started looking for other stuff?
Well, I don't know. I'd love to have my show on a platform like Paramount that Yellowstone's on, and I'm working on getting more distribution, and we are getting more distribution all the time. But I certainly think anybody who's interested in Yellowstone, which of course is a fictional sort of I don't watch it a whole lot. I saw the first one, but it's not really my cup of tea. I'm more of a Lonesome Dove kind of a guy. I do think that my show would really dovetail with people that I would say the people that are interested in Yellowstone. If you love Yellowstone, but you want to really experience the real West, and watch my show and see the kind of stuff that's out there, the cattle drives, horse drives, dude ranches, places where you can learn how to ride, and then all these interesting entrepreneurs, saddle makers, hat makers, people that restore wagons and stuff like that. So I think that it really, if you love Yellowstone, you'd love today's Wild West. And the difference is today's Wild West is real with stuff that you can actually go do.
Mark, you mean you haven't killed anybody on your show yet?
And dumped him over a state line? I mean, come on.
Yeah. We haven't taken anybody out to the train station. or whatever it is they call it.
So what is it that surprised you the most by doing this series?
Well, I think, what has surprised me, that's a tough question. I think, it's a lot of time doing magazine writing, which I do to this day. In fact, I have stories in the current issue of Cowboys and Indians. Doing magazine writing is much easier than doing television. Television just is very time consuming because going out to the Dude Ranch or meeting the hat maker, or like I was just in the Fort Worth Stockyards a couple of weeks ago doing stories there. That's kind of the fun and easy part. The time consuming part is sitting down and going through all the tape and then writing the shows and editing them. But that's also fun because you're kind of reliving the experience you just had when you go back and look at the tape. So I think it's very, very time consuming, but in the end, when the shows are done and people like them and you win an award and just kind of help the cause, spread the word about the Western lifestyle, it's all worth it. So I think that the time involved, I don't think I was really expecting that. And then I think the other challenge is to get noticed. There's so much content out there. You're talking about people that are out there producing stuff on their iPhone. So anybody with an iPhone now can be a television producer. So to get noticed among the mass of all the stuff being produced is challenging, but we're making progress and working on it. This is part of that, talking to you guys.
What's funny is I say this to my wife all the time. We watch a lot of YouTubers, and we watch some of the travel YouTubers and, the ones building houses and renovating houses and stuff. And they have millions of followers. And I say to her all the time, can you imagine the TV people 30 years ago, and you went up to them and said, hey, this guy with an iPhone's going to have millions of followers and all they're doing is renovating a house? They would say you were nuts, but here we are.
Yeah. And, those shows are really popular, and I personally don't get it. I mean, it's just not my deal. I think it's way more interesting to be on a horse up in the Rockies, looking at the Tetons, doing that kind of stuff. But I realize, people want to remodel their home and all that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just I'd rather watch.
How do you choose where you're going to go, the locations and the people?
Well, one thing kind of leads to another. When it first started out, so back in '99, I did this pilot. I couldn't get it on TV, so I started doing freelance magazine writing while I continued to be a freelance TV news writer in Los Angeles. So over the next 15 years, I did hundreds of stories on things like the Reno Rodeo Cattle Drive and different dude ranches and hat makers and stuff like that. So in 2015, when I started producing again the show I'm doing to this very day, I first went back and started doing TV versions of the print stories I'd done. Like I called up the people at the Reno Rodeo Cattle Drive and said, hey, I did this print story and can I come back and do a TV story? So that's how that started out. And then when you're at an event like that, you're meeting people that are immersed in that world and are telling the guy one time said, wow, you should go to the Great American Horse Drive in Colorado. And so which I'd never heard of. And so ended up doing a whole half-hour show on that. And that's quite the cool experience up at Sombrero Ranches up in Northwest Colorado, where they drive 500 horses, 60 miles over 2 days. It's a great adventure. You can see it on my show at todayswildwest.com. But one thing just kind of leads to another, and there's no shortage of material. I mean, there's lots of great stories out there, lots of great experiences, and Western entrepreneurs doing all kinds of amazing things.
Mark, Jamie and I have done 3,600 episodes of this show, and we get asked all the time, what's your favorite episode? And we're always like, we did 3,600. There's a lot of favorites. So now I'm going to turn it around on you. What's your favorite location that you filmed in?
Well, I get to ask that a lot, and I think it'd be like somebody asking, asking a parent who their favorite kid is. I mean, I've enjoyed all the experiences. I get asked that a lot when we're doing a story at a dude ranch. Like, well, what are some other great dude ranches? And I say, if you like this one, this is. I always say my favorite place to be is where I am right now because they're all really cool places. Some are more unique than others. Like there's a thing up in Montana called U.S. Cavalry School, which is.
I saw that one. That's this year. Isn't that this year in this year's season 6? Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool to experience that, to ride horseback right where Custer's last stand was and to learn about that history and it's taught in a very balanced way. I mean, they're not there to there's no political agenda or anything. People are just really interested in that history. And so that's a very unique experience. And, there's a lot of great dude ranches out there. One of the ones I've been to 15 times is a place in Arizona called the White Stallion Ranch. Been there doing stories and just been there to have fun. And so it's hard to pick one that is my favorite, because they've just all been amazing experiences and meeting great people, and those are like the most memorable.
That's the same answer Glenn gives. It's okay. You don't have to have a favorite.
It is, because, for us, I give a general answer a lot of times. I just say it's the people we've met, because because of this show, we've done so many things we would have never done. And we would have never met the people. We've interviewed almost 7,000 people. We would have never met those people otherwise.
You know what? That's what I tell people is the best part of it is the people. Because that is the best part of the people. The people that are interested in the West, that are living that lifestyle, are salt of the earth, down to earth, genuine, authentic, great people. And that really is the great part of this, is to get to know them. And they're inspiring because they're entrepreneurial and self-motivated and out doing all kinds of great stuff. And it's just, it's really fun to meet and hang out and ride horses with people like that.
So is the future just you're going to keep doing the show? Keep building it?
Yes, I'm still doing it. I think about if I'm going to do other things, but I think that I was reading Zig Ziglar, who was
one of my favorites, by the way.
Yeah, and he's got a great quote that people would ask him if he's going to retire. He says, "No, I'm getting refired." So he says, there's a great line in the book I just read this morning. I'm not going to ease up, let up, shut up, or give up until I'm taken up. As a matter of fact, I'm just getting warmed up. So, the most memorable, great experiences that my wife and I have are all connected to doing this show. And so I think about, if I quit doing it, like, what would I do? I really feel like I've been uniquely gifted and put in a position to kind of share these stories about the West. And we don't have a Yellowstone audience, but I think we're making a difference, and people that watch our stuff really like it. And I think, and I know for a fact, because I've met people like at cavalry school. I've been to cavalry school 3 times, and I've done 2 shows on cavalry school. And the second time I was back, after my first show was on the air, I met people that were there because they'd seen my show. So
there you go. That's why we do it too. I mean, it's the same thing. Jamie, when we started the show in 2010, it's a daily show. So it's, 3,600 episodes. Jamie's husband, 2 weeks in, said, "What are you going to talk about after 2 weeks doing the show?" And here we are. So.
That's right. Yeah, there's no shortage of material.
Well, good luck with it. I love entrepreneurs that are making content in the horse world, and you're out there doing it. We know how much work it is for you to do this, so keep on doing it.
Now, if I can wrap this up with a wonderful quote from Larry McMurtry, it's actually Gus McCrae who said this. He goes, "It ain't dying I'm talking about. It's living. I doubt it matters where you die, but it matters where you live." And you're doing it, brother.
There you
That's
go.
Awesome.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, couldn't agree with it more.
Today's wildwest.com. That's where you can find the TV show, and it airs a whole bunch of places, but you can find all the information there. Mark, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
For first-time horse owners and new riders, finding the information and support you need can be challenging. That's why Equine Network has partnered with Sentinel and Absorbine to bring you My New Horse. From important horsekeeping information and how-to videos to social media communities, exclusive experiences, and more, My New Horse is your one-stop shop for riders of all levels and disciplines looking for easy-to-understand horse care information and guidance. Start your horse ownership journey today. Visit mynewhorse.com.
Well, you just did a quote, so I have to do another quote. And this is from the wonderful, the best Valentine movie ever, 16 Candles. The quote is, "That's why they call them crushes. If they were easy, they'd call them something else."
I was thinking you were going to say, oh, what's a hopping and hot stuff.
This is from an unknown person. Love is grand. Divorce is $100,000. I like that.
Oh my God. Stop.
All right.
I don't know how to react when you give me quotes. I don't know what to say. Let's talk colors. So last week at some point, I asked all of you because I had a hypothesis that there is one particular type of color of horses that have come to me to train that are absolutely delightful. And there's one particular kind of horse that comes to me, and Farm Boy and I are like, uh-oh. You know, like we just know this one particular color is going to be tough. And so I wanted to reach out to see if all of you agreed with me. Okay. So I ask you on Facebook and through email and phone calls to everybody to please submit to me your best the color of your absolute most wonderful horse you've ever trained, Angel Baby. And then I wanted you to tell me the color of the horse that haunts your dreams. Because if you've had experience with any one of them, you remember them. So I took all these colors that are going to be named by suggestion. Also, people started sending me whirls, and I was asking at the beginning for like leg markings. It was too much. So basically, I took colors and face markings into account. Okay. I wasn't just going to go chestnut. So I went with I didn't include whirls because a lot of people send me whirls, and I'm like, oh, you make my brain hurt.
Too, so, yeah.
So the colors that we did were the ones suggested, and the facial markings are blaze, star, stripe, snip, and none. Okay. And some of them I had to pile into categories. So do you want me to start with the best or the worst?
Let's start with the worst and end with the best. It's Friday. So let's do
okay. Well, kind of how it ended up working was I got so many suggestions. And so what I'm going to give you, I broke it down even further. Chapter's like, what are you doing? I was like, listen, I'm doing a science experiment here. I had like spreadsheet. I had papers all over the table. I mean, I have papers like all around me. I've like a pile of papers. So we're going to let's start with chestnut. Okay. So I ended up just taking all the chestnuts and marking, like what I did was so many people had certain bays that they liked and didn't like, and chestnuts they liked and didn't like, etc. That I was like, I'm just going to compile the information and present it to you. I would also like to say if your favorite horse is included on a list you don't want, or vice versa, email Jennifer at horseradionetwork.com. She's the one that takes all the complaints. If you really love this and you agreed with it, email me, Jamie at horseradionetwork.com. Okay, so we had
Jennifer ever
chestnut.
Quits, we're not telling anybody, and we'll just let those emails pile up.
That file stays open. So I did also include liver chestnut, and a lot of people sent bright chestnut, red chestnut, liver chestnut. I didn't get enough of any one particular color of chestnut to make a difference, but we've got blaze, star, stripe, snip, and no nose. We are going to go with the very best chestnut, according to the hundreds of you that sent in a response.
I'm lost already. Is this the worst horses or the best horses that we're starting with?
What I ended up doing is just breaking it down by color.
Okay.
And telling you which is the best horse and the most difficult horse in every color.
Oh,
okay. So if you're looking at a chestnut and it has this particular marking, you could be like, oh my God, my horse totally was on the best of list.
Gotcha. All right,
so
all right.
that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to break it down by color. So first we have chestnut, the very best chestnut marking on the face to have a horse that everybody loves. Now, mind you, I did get negatives in some of these, but not enough. You were outvoted. The very best color on a chestnut is a blaze, a chestnut with a big blaze. Okay. The worst color chestnut was a chestnut with a stripe. That's a thin, you guys know what these markings are. I don't have to tell you. Now, the worst chestnut was the stripe, but it was followed closely behind by a chestnut with a star. And I will be emailing Jennifer because my lifetime horse that I got when I was 10 and I had him until I was 28 years old, it was a chestnut with a star, and he was an angel. So just know that I did not doctor these results because they made me mad too. Okay. We're going to move to bay. Do you want to guess everybody's favorite marking on a bay horse?
I would guess blaze again.
You would be wrong.
Oh.
The best bay horse for anybody
Star.
was a star. Now keep in mind that if I don't mention your horse, a horse's color, it's because it didn't get suggested to me. Because remember, these are only the very top and the very bottom of everybody's experiences with this color. And this is going to prove hilarious in a minute. So the best bay was a star, also includes a snip, because I had a couple peppered in that were on the best of category that also had a snip. The worst bay, do you want to guess?
Plain, no marking.
You got it. No
Really?
markings. So if you have a bay with no markings, according to this, he might be a little difficult, or she. I did not take sex into account either, but I am very heartened by those of you who absolutely love your chestnut mares. Okay. I'm busting
There
that
were
whole
some of
chestnut
those?
mare thing. Yes, like most of them. So most of the chestnut that I heard were the best were chestnut mares.
They were just trying to defend
that-
chestnut mares. That's what.
Maybe, but I'm just saying that, that chestnut mare myth has been busted is what I'm learning. Okay. Now keep in mind, the best and the worst were the only ones that were sent to me. I'll say the worst, the best and the most difficult. Dark bay horses, dark bay, I took into account because I did get a lot of those. And it was a even 50-50 split on the best were dark bay and the most difficult were dark bay, which I thought was interesting. I didn't really get any livers, so apparently livers are your kind of middle of the road chestnut, but dark bays are very polarizing. Okay. Also got a large amount of gray horses.
Well,
Gray
so we
horses.
never said what our favorites and least favorites were yet, but my least would be a gray. It was an Arab that Jennifer had that was just bonkers. So
Yeah, I
it was
did
the
get
one
a
I have
lot of
trauma over.
I did get a lot of Arab suggestions. Again, I didn't take into account breeds. I had to just go with color.
I have to go with gray for my color of the worst.
Okay, well, you would be wrong. 75% of you said gray was your favorite, and 25% of you thought grays are the devil. So that was interesting. And remember, I got a lot of votes for particular colors. And again, it's only the best and the worst. So the fact that I got a lot of votes for unique colors will come into play. Black horses. Do you think black was good or best or not
My
so
favorite
good?
are black.
Okay, well, you would be in the 75% of people that thought black was the best. And their most difficult were 25% of you chose black as the most difficult. Okay, then all of the more unique colors. Again, remember, I only got the very best and the very worst, the most difficult. So in this whole world, you wouldn't think I'd get a whole ton of unique colored horses, right, Glenn? I mean, like you'd think bays, chestnuts, grays, blacks, those are kind of the most common. Nope. I got a monumental amount of unique colored horses.
Like?
I got buckskin, palomino, cremello, a dun, a red roan, blue roan, and multiple Appaloosa colorings, and I just lumped them all into one category. And what's funny is, again, the top or the bottom, and I got a massive amount of horses that are unique colored. Okay, so there was a one giant A+ super standout. I think I only had one negative vote towards this one particular unique coat color.
What's that?
The buckskin.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you have a buckskin, 99.9% of you absolutely love it. Now you're thinking, I wrote to you and I have a buckskin and it was on my worst list. You're the only one. Everybody else, and I have two, and they're just sweet angel babies. So I agreed with that one. Now, let's see here. I got to turn pages because, again, there's so many.
Yeah. We won't have time to go through them all. So let me ask you this. Overall.
I'm almost done. I'm almost
Okay,
done.
All right.
Go ahead. What's your question?
Overall, if you were to take it as an overall, was chestnut the one that do you think showed up the most as the worst?
No.
And that's what I
No.
would have guessed.
Okay.
Judging
Well,
by, everybody bitching about chestnuts. So
Of the uniquely colored horses, I'll speed up a little bit. Of the uniquely colored horses, there was one who was absolutely the worst in all those colors. I
I don't
most
know which one
difficult
that would be.
in all of those colors I gave you.
Appaloosa.
Palomino.
Oh, Palomino.
Palomino.
Wow.
I get and closely followed by any Appaloosa color. So what does that make me think? It means me think sometimes if you breed for color, maybe you should breed for brain. It just seems like a lot of people have difficulty. Now, I wanted to just go over the paint versus the pinto because we've got, what the difference is between paints and pintos, Glenn?
Not really. I mean, I think
Okay,
I
a
did it
paint
one
is a
time.
breed. A paint is a breed. A pinto is a color. A paint will have either 50% thoroughbred or quarter horse. And so that's a breed. And then pinto is a color. Pinto is like Taco Tuesday, who I plucked off of some middle of nowhere. And he was just a pinto.
Okay.
So we've got, of the ones sent to us, we had Tobiano, Overo, brown and white, bay and white, black and white, Palomino and white, and buckskin and white. By far, there was one high standout in the best pinto color.
Black and white.
And no,
Oh.
the bay and white.
Oh.
Those are the horses that may have black points in their mane. They're brown and white in the body, and they may have a little black mane and tail. Those were by far and Tobianos in that. Tobiano, think like a regular paint. An Overo, think Hidalgo. Like that splotchy paint, giving you the basics. So by far, hands down, the best pinto color was the bay and white pinto, which is black, white, and brown. Okay. Then we have the worst. And I only had one suggestion that this horse was good. And this was by far the most submitted color of horse in all color
That
horses.
was worst.
And it was worst by way far. Like dabbled in other horses. Everybody who sent this one in, except for one person, said it was by far the most difficult. This is the best in show of the worst in show. And actually, I 100% agreed with
Then I
this
know
one.
what it is.
The black and white pinto apparently is the devil horse.
You've had more
I
bad
mean-
luck with those.
The black and white pinto. I'm not the only one. That's why I started this whole thing. I'm like, why have I had a stretch of very difficult? And if any of you are listening and you sent me a black and white pinto, I'm sure yours was the good one. Okay. But the rest of them, oh my God. And what's funny is everybody who has had a black and white pinto, except for that one person, sent me like, this is the worst. So I then employed the help of outside trainers. And I called the indomitable and inevitable Miss Mary Kitzmiller.
Yep.
Okay. So I call Mary and I'm like, Mary, let's discuss
Can I
horse
guess?
color.
Because I know Mary for a long time. If she's
Okay.
going to go good on color, it'd be buckskin.
Okay.
And bad on color for her would be a paint or a pinto.
So the most difficult horse she ever had was a Gruya, but it was like a very
Oh,
Chevalsky looking Mustang that came to her, and she was like, this thing wanted to kill you. But she gave me a hot tip because I discussed the results with her, and she gave me the quote to end all quotes
okay.
because we talked about the black and white horse, and she was like, oh man, the more the horse looks like a cow, the worse it's gonna be. Honorable mention in
Okay,
her
I've
book
done a
and
lot of
many of her
quotes
other
today.
books,
That
too.
one wins.
Horses with blue eyes. Also very, very difficult, according to most of you. I think one person said they had a horse with blue eyes who was great. All the rest of you think it's a devil. And I would like to also make this disclaimer. This scientific data comes to you with all the accuracy of a zodiac. Okay? So don't get mad at me. Best in show, buckskins, and chestnuts with a blaze, bays with a star, and the worst devil horse of all time goes to the black and white pinto, and it was a toss up for grays and blacks. So you know where you fall in on this category. If you want to discuss it with me, fine. Email me. That's fine. I'll go over it with you. Again, it was just listener suggestions. I did no science. I just collected numbers.
No, I would say the overall winner here actually was the chestnut, because I think everybody would have guessed that would have won the bad category, right? So I think the chestnut not winning that category is the ultimate winner here.
Yeah. The chestnut with the blaze, definitely. I will tell you that the numbers of chestnuts that I had, if you put them with the numbers of, like, say, buckskins I have, it is a larger pool, a larger percentage of, like, the buckskin that turned up the best type of horse. But the pool, yeah, like if you were to take percentages, like percentage wise, the buckskin of the suggestions that I did have it being the best horse, it's kind of the winner. And the hardcore high number percentage of most difficult horse is the black and white pinto. Sorry, I love you all. Horses are amazing. It's not science. I know there's training and personality and breeding and all sorts of things and pain and all sorts of things that go into it. I just did a basic survey.
Yeah, but that doesn't make for interesting programming. So,
exactly. It comes to you.
So thank you for putting this together. You know what would be interesting too as a follow-up for you? Look up and see if in actual surveys what the breakdowns of, are 50% of horses bay and 5% buckskin? What are the ratios? That would be interesting to know.
Well, that's what's so funny to me, because population. all of these horses that got submitted to me, the Cremello, the Dun, the red and blue, by the way, none of those were like high marks. They were all on the negative scale. But I just think it's funny that such a small percentage of these horses popped up in a very generic general study like this, which means that breeding for, like, my takeaway was breeding for color is not the best idea. I mean, if you're looking for brain.
Well, there you go. There's the bottom line. And then also, what was Mary's quote again? We have to remember that one.
The more they look like a cow, the worse they are.
And on that note, we'll be back with some really bad ads.
Even under the best circumstances, travel is stressful for horses. We've all been there, stuck on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. You can make the journey knowing that US Rider is there for you. Get peace of mind on the road with US Rider's nationwide 24/7 roadside assistance coverage for both you and your horse. Join today at usrider.org.
If you ain't met one by now, you're bound to sooner or later. He says one thing and he means another, but hey, he can't help it. He's a horse trader. Horse trading. Well, it's a laissez-faire. Let the buyer beware. Horse trading. They tell a low-down lie with a sincere stare. Horse trading. Well, if they're talking in circles and the deal ain't square, he's a master in the fine art of persuading. Horse trading.
That's right. It is time for Really Bad Ads. That time of the week when listeners submit ads either from Craigslist or Facebook or whoever, and we have a little bit of fun with them. But before we get to that, Albert Einstein once said, "Women marry men hoping they will change. Men marry women hoping they will not. So each is inevitably disappointed." So there you go. And
incomparable was the word I was trying to think of for Mary, by the way. I'll sit on that one. But Albert Einstein is right, and he's wrong.
It is true. But then Charles Schultz, I want to warm it up here a little before we get to bad ads and then totally shred the day. Charles Schultz once said, "Love is sharing your popcorn." And if you think about it, when you're sitting on the couch or in the movie theater sharing your popcorn, you're doing it with somebody you like, right? So there you go. I like that one.
Yeah, but Lucas and I just fight over it, and we like a hand wrestle in the bucket.
Well, the really bad ads. So unfortunately, I still don't have any prizes, so I'm going to try and solve that problem. It's a problem I've got right now, so I'm going to work on that. But Debbie, everybody that's submitting now, whatever the next prizes are, whenever I solve the problem, will be included in this. So keep submitting. Debbie sent this one in. It's lost.
Oh, wait, hold on. You got to read up above where it says links to Facebook ads. This is Jennifer wrote this. Oh. Links to Facebook ads don't work. send screenshots. We're talking to you, Rosemary.
That's because if you send links, they go away, and then she can't see
They
them.
go away. Yeah.
Because we don't always get to them
Boom,
immediately. So
the 2 buttons on the side, beep, and email that picture. Okay, go for the first one.
Debbie sent this one in. Lost and found pets for Union, Wallowa, and Baker Counties, Oregon. God, there's Facebook. Looking for this little girl. Oh my God, this is so poorly written. Let me try this again. By the way, there's a picture of a tiny little, looks like Chihuahua Pomeranian thing. Looking for this little girl. She is Pomeranian Chihuahua mix. Also, her name is Lilo. She is.
Hold on. This is the greatest spelling of the word Chihuahua in the history of
How about
Chihuahua.
Pomeranian in the end?
I thought you pronounced it perfect.
She is skid-ish of men and barks a lot. Don't they all? Let's be honest. I owned a Pomeranian. She ran away in Backer City this afternoon while, W-I-L-E, a family friend was letting her out to go potty. She get cold easy, and mom is very upset. First of all, this is stereotypical for the Pomeranians I know, and the Chihuahuas I know. They bark a lot, they never like men, and they run away. That's what happened to ours.
I've never seen it spelled Chawawa.
It's true.
It's like the Wawa grocery stores in Florida.
Yeah. It's true. They don't serve Pomeranian there. I like Wawa. Just
thank God.
clarifying.
Kayla's the next one in. This is from the Loomis Facebook page. I don't know what that is.
I don't know either.
This may be a long shot, ... but ... we are looking to rehome Steve, our mean male pig. You know what happens to mean male pigs? They turn into what we call dinner, right? I mean, geez, as says the vegetarian.
Every
We got
Steve I knew in high school was a troublemaker. So this just goes along.
We got Steve and his sister Rosebud in 2020. Everything started out great. We were told that they would be friendly pets as long as we spoiled them with treats. Fast forward to 2024, and it appears that Steve is not willing to trade his feral pig dignity for a few apple slices. Lucky for us, he does like beer and will drink alone, so care and maintenance happens after 5 p.m. The skipping of beer hour may or may not be a problem in the future for Steve or his new caregivers. We'll leave that up to you. His rehoming is conditional that he does not become bacon. So if you have a place in your home and your heart and not your freezer for Steve, drop me a DM.
Let's get this right. We have this pig who's an alcoholic, and we want to make sure it goes to somebody else because we don't want this pig anymore, but you can't do what you want with it. We're going to qualify that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned the host Steve thing.
Yeah.
So there, that big giant plastic horse that I have here that I use for clinics, his name is
Texas
Steve.
And drove it home on a roof or something.
Yeah. Chad put it upside down in the back of the truck and had 4 legs standing up. And anyway,
right.
I let him name it, and he named it Steve. And he, for some reason, wants to name every horse Steve. And I'm like, we already have a Steve. There's Steve. And he was like, but it's not real horse. I'm like, it's Steve. So for Valentine's Day, I found him a book, and it's called The Exceptional Horse Steve.
No.
Yes. Google Steve the Exceptional Horse. It's fantastic. Google it. I got it for him for Valentine's Day. Opened it yesterday. Okay. The Exceptional Horse Steve.
Emily sent the next one in. This was on 907 Horses for Rehoming. I don't know what 907 is. I don't know. She lives in Alaska. Maybe it means something up there. I don't know. Handsome old man seeking a retirement plan. The best way to describe this guy? Imagine your grumpy old man neighbor yelling at kids to get off his lawn, only happy when the stars align just right. Quarter horse gelding. Prince. Big red. 21-year-old acts like a 4-year-old. 16 hands. Lots of get up and go. We'll go all day. Heads down the trail better with a buddy. Like any used car with miles, he has habits and blemishes. Rehoming as sound for light riding. Has arthritis but does well on Cosequin. Was rode miles and miles all over Point Mackenzie last summer. Just looking to slow down and pace and find someone to pamper him or to be a babysitter pasture pal. Cons. If you want to have your insides jostled around and your whiskey spilled out of the flask at high stepping pee-off all the way to the barn, this is your guy.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. If you have too much money sitting in your bank account and want your horse to be on a better diet than you have ever been on, this is your guy. Pros. He does well in the arena. He collects side passes and open gates. Does well around four-wheelers, trailers, and ties well. Good around gunfire. You can pony off him. Loves kids. Up to date on vet care and farrier. Any other questions? PM, no tire kickers. Asking 3 carrots. So there you go. Steve, now they talk all about him being on trail, but then they come back into the pro. He's better in the arena.
The cons completely canceled out the pros.
Yeah. Like you're going to be bucking and rearing the whole way home. I kind of got that one. So the
next one comes from Jamie, and she is a barrel horse person, so she must have been shopping for a barrel horse when she came across this ad in Barrel Horse Brokers on Facebook. Again, that's a thing.
Horse dealers used to hide the fact that they were horse dealers.
Yeah,
anymore.
right? My truck is in the shop and needs a new engine, and horses have to get sold. Here's what I have that has to get moved ASAP. Oh, the names. 2018 Straw Fly Rekindled is a bay roan mare that was broke out at one time. She is a pasture pet at this point because life is lifing right now. That is so country. Oh my God.
I like that.
Because life is laughing right now. I had, she's in North Carolina, so maybe this sounds like a Carolina. Ain't no way on God's green earth that I'm going to step on that ring. Oh my God, this took a turn. Hold on. She's a pasture pet because life is life, and I had planned on breeding her this year, but there's no way on God's green earth that I'm going to step on that rank winch right now. Nope. Not going to happen. You don't have that kind of money to make that happen. So she's selling as is for 5 carats. She's quirky.
Does that mean $50?
I think $5,000.
Oh, okay.
She's quirky as the day is long, and I'm just not as young and cowboy as I used to be. Let me just say, if you have a mother-in-law you'd like to get rid of quickly, this is the mare you should put her on. Please don't come at me with no black and white. Please don't come at me with no low offers or trades, as I'm not in the position right now to do so. My dually is in the shop, and I'm just need the money right now and have a $19,000 estimate on a blown engine, and insurance sucks donkey balls.
There were some quotes in here we've never heard before.
Yeah. This is a new one. Well done, Jamie.
Clark sent this one in. Horse/stock trailers of Alabama, Florida, and Georgia. Oh God. Okay.
Oh my
so
God.
do you know how most of the bAd trailers we have in here are missing a roof? They have sides. Yeah. They're not good sides, but rusty sides. They're about ready to fall off, but they're missing a roof. This is just the opposite. Let me read the ad and then we'll tell you. 4-horse trailer with divided door, hook and chains mounted, new tire set of 4 tandem axle, new U-bolts on axles, top feeders, supply storage, tack storage, tar and coal seal on the roof.
They sealed and chilled the roof?
Vintage trailer with lots of extras. Must see to appreciate. No, not really. So this one is missing the sides completely. It has a roof.
There's no walls.
But no sides.
So it's like a 4-horse straight load. So there's 2 that go in the front, and then the door closes, and there's 2 that go in the back, and the doors are there. And they put seal and chill on the roof from worm flooring.
And there's no sides. I mean, no sides.
And there's no sides.
Your scooter would be gone in a second.
I mean, there's no sides. I don't need to see it to appreciate it. I can appreciate it from here.
All right. I appreciate the ones with no roof and sides now.
Yeah, right.
At least your horse is probably not going to be on the road in 2 minutes. All right.
Paige sent the next one, and this is horses for sale in Florida. Oh, God. Well, there's a fish emoji and two of them on the other side of the title, which says, let's run a Facebook auction. Where do I even begin? Meet Catfish, a grade 12-year-old 14-2-ish gelding. Why is his name Catfish? Well, because he's not what the situation is. He's not gentle. He's not sweet. He's not handy broke like he was described. I know there's plenty of women out there who like unemotionally available men who think they can fix them. So I have faith that there's a barn that he can call home because he is not welcome to stay at mine. With as fat as he is, I'm going to guess he's an easy keeper, but don't quote me 100% on that. He just got here. I did hop up on him bareback last night and he didn't kill me. So that's a plus. He was dewormed today. That's about all the positives I have. Happy bidding. And please do not call me to complain about the demon pony when you get him home. I tried to warn you. Oh my God. Located in Bunnell, Florida. Why didn't Jennifer get this one?
She got this home and in one day, he's already being sold.
But I don't understand. Like, I mean, she got on him and he didn't buck her off. It sounds like he's not terrible.
Yeah, she never really did explain what all his bad traits were. So there you go. You can find out for yourself because she's not telling you.
Yeah.
Janelle sent this one in. Sand Hills Area Equestrians Facebook page. This is an ISO ad. What I'd like to do, low-level eventing, dressage, jumpers, trail rides, bareback strolls on our 60-acre farm. About my horse, low-level, all-arounder type, friendly and enjoys being doted on by middle-aged lady with lots of time and treats, who sometimes needs to wash down her ibuprofen with a shot of bourbon before going down the center line.
Amen, sister.
Doesn't mind a small pack of border collies catching frisbees and joining us in trail rides. Gets along in a mixed herd. About my budget. Low to mid-fives. The less I spend, the more saddle pads and stud muffins I can buy. About my location. Oh, I didn't know this. Hillsboro, North Carolina. Now we know where the sand hills are. Horses will have an absolute 5-star home. References could be provided. I'm not joking when I say this horse will want for nothing. Ideally, 15 to 17 hands. Wow, she wants them big. I like them wide. Forward-thinking but not on fire. Some experience jumping cross-country, off-property. Goes out in company or alone, does well for trailering, farrowing, and vet, takes a joke from its adult AMI backpack, doesn't need a program to be rideable. Absolutely no OTTBs. I've owned several. I love them. I don't want another one. Horses with the following description are also out. So forward, you need a parachute like they use for drag racers. Upper level prospect potential. I have neither, so will annoy a horse who does. Lightly started under saddle. The ground keeps getting harder when the older I get. So there you go. Woman is looking for the perfect horse.
I'm trying to figure out, because that'd be like a nice horse for everybody.
Everybody, yes.
And what is her price range? Like, I don't understand when people say mid-fives. Is that
that's $5,000?
$50,000?
No, $5,000, mid-fives. Because 5 digits is, no, you're right.
50. Because that's what you're going to need for something this awesome.
You're right. I don't know if mid-fives, I always thought it was 5,000, something.
See?
But it's
confusing.
At 5 digits, as you were right, would be 50,000. Who's paying 50,000 for a trail horse?
So low to mid-fives, is that 25,000? I just don't understand.
Or is that 10,000? 12,000? Somebody explain it to us. Email Jamie at horseradionetwork.com. We want to know.
Oh my gosh, this next one comes from Christy. Good Lord. This thing is about to pop. Horses, Ponies, and Minis Facebook page. Super cute mini available. I was told she was broke to ride, but my kid doesn't have much interest in her, so we never tried. She's around 10 years old. No restrictions on what she can eat.
Oh, no, she needs restricted.
Oh, my God. She's had alfalfa and pasture without any problems. Those are problems.
Do you see the size of her belly's dragging the ground?
I thought you were going to say she's pregnant. She looks like she's about to drop a baby. She has fat pads along the top of her neck and back. Oh, my God.
She has to be founded or laminitic, one of the two. They never noticed how fat she was.
You're not going to have any problems with him if you don't look at him. That's the thing. She saw it. I hauled her a couple times as a buddy for a horse. You cannot give miniature horses grass and alfalfa. It will look like this. This horse has, I will promise you, is rotated in probably 3 out of 4 feet.
Yes,
I
probably.
can't see the feet though because she's in the sand. Probably has sand in her belly too. Cool.
Hannah sent this one in. Last one of the day. ISO, mare or gelding under $900? Mare or gelding only? 14 hand or taller. Must be sound. I don't mind a bit of Spitfire, but they must have at least a handful of rides, so if your horse is going to buck or bolt right off the back on its first ride, I am not interested. I don't care about color. Well, you'd be the only one apparently today, we discovered. I got a bay gelding, a sorrel, pinto mare, and a black dapple John mule, and a fat gray mini donkey, so there he was, never an aesthetic to the group in the first place.
They spelled "there" wrong.
But they spelled aesthetic right.
But they spelled aesthetic right.
I got 50 acres of pasture. I also rotate the brand of feed I give them every month. So when I got time, I make homemade treated for them, but I buy fruits and vegetables when in season. Why would you rotate the brand of feed?
That's not a thing. You don't.
They made that sound like it was a good thing.
And what actually, you gave them too much credit because this is how it actually reads. I got 50 acres of pasture. I also, no punctuation. I also rotate the brand of feed I give them every other month. Have you ever heard somebody say every other month?
No, I was still stuck on rotating the feed every month.
I rotate that brand of feed I give them every other month.
Is that a thing?
It's a real country thing. I will tell you, there's one word that Anna says, my German exchange student, that I just can't correct because it's the cutest thing. And I'm going to use it forever for the rest of my life. And I hope all of you will too. Okay. When you are climbing up on your horse on those steps, what are those steps called?
Mounting block?
No. It's a mountain. It's a mountain block. I love it so much.
Well, she does live there in the mountains, so I mean, there is that.
I don't think she does. It's the mountain block. It's a mountain block, and I just can't correct her. And she's going to go back to Germany thinking we climb up on mountain blocks. It makes me so happy. She's like, "Can you read me the mountain block?" I'm like, "Yes, I absolutely will." She said something to Farm Boy, and I was like, "Don't, shh, don't say anything."
I wonder if there's a Facebook page, How I Torture My Exchange Student.
Oh my God, there's probably one because there's a Facebook page for everything.
There is. All right. Well, thanks everybody for sending the ads in. If you want to send him in for next week, send them to Jennifer at horseradionetwork.com. We hope you all have, I know the whole country is going to go into deep freeze again next week, and apparently there's some storms and all that kind of stuff. So we hope that you survive. You only got a couple weeks yet till spring, and then things will look good for another 6 months. You can do it, Jamie. You can get through the ice and snow. You got it.
Well, I will tell you something I'm doing this weekend. On Sunday, my horse Ace is going to go. So I have a new assistant for next year. And so she lives, I have a new farm boy, but she's a farm girl. I got a new farm girl, and she's a upper level eventer. She's like modified level eventer, and she lives up in Tulsa. Well, I'm unable to ride because it's February and it sucks, and I have one arm. So I'm gonna take Ace up to her to get back under saddle for 2 weeks. And so I'm like, it's weird. Like, I'm sending my baby away. Like, I'm pretty sad about it. And I'm going to be like, I promise you, I'm not selling you. I promise you, I'm not selling you. So I have to load him up the trailer, take him up there. And he's going to live in a very posh place with a covered arena and a nice barn with bedded stalls. And I'm going to take all his tack and everything. But so basically, I'm handing over the riding for 2 to 3 weeks to who will be my new assistant next year. So it's going to be hard, but I just don't know when he's going to have, it's a great time for him to have, number one, some riding, and number two, some experience in a environment like that.
Well, yeah, because he's to be all new and different.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be good for him.
And I'll be kind of used to going to shows because that's kind of environment we'll end up at shows, right?
Yeah,
in a barn with a whole
exactly.
bunch of strangers. So, yeah.
So he's going to camp.
That's what he's going. He's going to adult camp or maybe teenage camp.
He's going to racehorse winter camp.
Well, good luck to Ace. Well, and I'm glad you got a farm girl, huh? So does she start when Farm Boy leaves in May?
No, she starts in the fall when school starts. So she's going to be a student at OU and needed a place to board her horse. So she's going to bring her upper level event horse. He'll get his own paddock and she'll ride horses.
She works out as good as Farm Boy did for all those years.
Big shoes, man. Big shoes. Do you know what?
Literally.
So Farm Boy's name, is Barrett. And Lucas met the new young lady and he's like, I'm not calling her by her name. He was like, I have a name for her. And I was like, what? What are you going to call her? And he's like, her new name is Beretta.
Beretta?
Like Barrett with an A. Beretta.
Oh. I was thinking of the gun. See, my mind went right to the gun.
Oh, no. Come on now. Yeah, Beretta.
Well, he is a hunter now, so I wasn't sure, That's being sarcastic.
Correction. I think I'm a hunter.
All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. See you next week.
All right, everybody. Spay and neuter guild.
Is Beretta as shy as Farm Boy?
No. I think we'll be okay. She's an eventer, man. She's like, awesome.